Side of polytheism is that we as people are not interchangeable parts either. And everybody here has a different package. Sometimes there's subtle differences, sometimes they're huge, of talents, temperaments, life circumstances. That affects the work that we can do. Nobody's ever going to hire me to direct their choir, okay? At least nobody's sane. But for each of us who loves the earth, there's something to do. Something that our talents, our abilities, our temperaments, our resources, our life circumstances points us toward. I believe that your talents are your callings. And that each of us will be happier, feel less thwarted and blocked if we express those callings and manifest those callings in whatever way they are. And yes, we can, both on the inner and the manifest level, make a difference. And you know what? We need to.
She'd win, no question.
Sure. 2 minutes to say one thing I really want to say to people. You know, I've been an activist for now over 40 years, and one of the things I've learned in that time period is, you know, it's something we used to say back in the 60s and 70s. We used to always looking for somebody ought to do something. Somebody ought to make a change. Somebody ought to fix that. Somebody should tell someone. And we had a phrase back in the 60s. It's like, you know, I am that somebody. And if you see things that need changing, and instead of just sitting and waiting for somebody else to do it, why not do it yourself? It's such a powerful statement. And there are countless examples of how small communities, poor people all over the world have made changes instead of waiting for someone else to do it. One of the examples is in Bolivia, where the people there decided that, you know what, that water is sacred and the water is ours. And they took back their water. And these were people without internet and cell phones and SUVs, or because I don't even care if you're driving an SUV. If you're doing good work with it, that's fine. You need to do it with intention. But they didn't have any of those things. And they saw something that needed to happen, and they didn't wait for someone else to do it. And so, you know, it can be a small thing, it could be a big thing, it could be somewhere in between. We all have different roles at different times in our lives. But I really hope that you realize that you are the change agent. You are the change that you hope for in the world. And someone said this earlier, if you're not going to do it, who is? So stop looking around for someone else and step up. Because we need everyone to step up to be who and what they are, to shine their jewel. I used to talk about the concept of polishing the jewel. The jewel is the soul that you bring into this world. And your job when you come into this world is to discover what that jewel is, and then to polish it, and then let it shine. And so if I say nothing else to you, quit dulling and hiding your jewel. Get out there and be who and what you are.
Thank you.
Two minutes. It's very easy to look outside yourself, to look at that ought to be changed. I ought to make that person or that organization or that institution outside me do something. Sometimes that has to happen, That sometimes it's a crutch for our own sense of lack of power, of neediness, of craving. I think the only thing that can be said is what the statue of Apollo said to Rainier Maria Rilke. Du musst dein Leben ändern. You must change your life. That's where real change begins. One of the reasons I'm suspicious about political involvements, and especially political coalitions, and there's always somebody in charge of the coalition, is precisely that it's a way of changing someone else's life. And it becomes an excuse for power that sometimes rots the heart right out of spirituality. I'm sure we can think of examples. You must change your lives. Start with that as your touchstone, and you won't go wrong. Whatever actions you take need to come out of that, not out of a desire to force the rest of the world to conform to your ideology, or your beliefs, or your druthers, or your ideals even. Start with your own life. Go from there. That's what I'd say.
Thank you very much.